Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday of March. Oh, good God, ladies and gentlemen. Life is annoying because when things go good, you kind of be and hello, Emperor Snake. In short, a stress relief live stream is very much needed because life is annoying. In short, large amounts of stress. Also, I must say one thing. If only this was the Saints Row, I think it was 4, if I'm not mistaken, universe, where you can choose between ending world hunger or solving cancer. Solving cancer would be very good. That's, ironically, that's the one I always chose in that particular game. Because, damn, ladies and gentlemen, I most despise that disease. Well, it's not a disease, is it? I forget exactly what cancer is supposed to be. Other than something you normally find on Twitter. If it had remained confined to Twitter, that'd be great, but alas, it was not. And hello, Fire Seed. And hello, Daniel Leyland. So yeah, the reason I'm so stressed out is my stepfather is currently suffering from cancer. Not of Twitter, but of the pancreas, which is substantially worse than cancer of the Twitter. And so, this might be the last live stream for a while, and this might also be, like, the last video for a while, since I'm going to be dealing with that. Which is most depressing indeed, so I've got to try to be my most general Lotzy, for the next hour or so, and try not to be super stressed out, because, I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had to deal with something like this, but good God, it is not a fun experience, that is for sure. As for the motorcycle, oh god, see, that's something that's going to be kind of depressing to me in the future. But I have not acquired a motorbike just yet, but I did finally get the money to do so. See, one of the big problems now is, like, getting the motorcycle is going to be kind of depressing just because my stepfather is a biker dude, and he's sort of the guy that inspired me to do that, in addition to my grandfather, who was also a bit of a biker, but not a biker dude. Because there's a difference between the biker dude and just a guy who rides motorcycles, and my grandfather certainly was not what you would call a biker dude. But he was a rider, way back in the day. And hello, Wise Dragon. I don't know how much time it's gonna take, because I've never actually had anyone that close to me have something this dire. I'm hoping he can pull through and everything will be fine, but it's just I just kind of have to be ready for the worst to happen, if it does, which I sincerely hope it doesn't. But, like, for me, I've just had, like, 3 family members for most of my life, and my stepfather is a rather recent addition to my immediate family, who, quite to my surprise, pleasant surprise, we got close pretty fast. It was we bonded over fixing my car door, because back in 2019, I got in a big wreck, and my car door got smashed, and we replaced it. And it was a really cool, like, really nice bonding moment. Something I did not expect to have happen. And him and I just hit it off pretty well. And of course, my mother and him are, like, completely inseparable, so it's, like, really causing her a lot of problems. I'll tell you this. If you ever have somebody, or have either a family member or a bunch of family members get, like, sick at the same time, you know, you didn't kind of, like, fear the phone call. It's like, oh god, what happened now, you know? Ugh. Needless to say, the last week and, well, yesterday were absolutely horrific, so it's just one of those things. It is a most it's an interesting feeling to feel that way. It's just like, you feel kind of crushed to an extent. You just have that sort of low-level dread. I'll try not to be too maudlin. I mean, but then again, if I was, it's not like, oh no, the Orange Man is going to form his own media company, which, we'll see if that works. I don't know. I wish Orange Man all the best with that, because somebody needs to take down big tech, and he has the money. Let's see. Oh yes, and hello, Silverwigs. But yeah, Orange Man, I will see if it actually comes of anything. I can see a lot of things completely crushing it. There was a video I watched a number of, probably several months ago now, talking about what you need to actually form a rival social media company. Basically, you need, like, all the infrastructure imaginable to make that work. Like, you have to have your own bank, you have to have your own... And it might seem strange, like, why would you need your own bank? Well, if the bank doesn't want you to have your own social media company, they can just shut you off. That's something that isn't talked about altogether that much. Is that if a bank doesn't like what you're doing, they can completely close your account, and, well, they're not going to be accountable for that. That actually happened to a firearms training facility called Gunsight. They, their payment processor shut them down, essentially. They eventually did come back, but it's a mess when it comes to that. And, yeah. What can I say? People be cray. But unrelated to that and horribly depressing crap, one of the things I was doing today to relieve some stress was I finally finished Singularity. Now, I've already reviewed the game and I'd already played the game, but I was playing through it again. And one of the things I want to talk about, and here's a spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about the ending, is the ending to that game. That was one of those games from the 2010s where it desperately needed a sequel. Well, actually, I think there was going to be a sequel, but since it didn't get one, it's a major, it's a massive open-ended ending. I mean, it's kind of closed, but a lot of the major plot, well, the major plot was resolved, but like, at the end of the game, you've got, two endings, ostensibly, that you can choose. There's a third hidden kind of ending. The game doesn't make it too obvious that you can do it. But you got the good ending and you got the bad ending. One is where you take over everything. One is where you help the obviously bad guy take over everything, voiced by Stephen Blum. And then the other one is where you have the lesser bad guy take over everything. And I'm not going to say who is who, just in case you haven't played the game. It's an interesting way to end the game, and certainly a lot more hardcore than you'd think. But here's the thing. The main character remembers the original timeline. Singularity is all about the time travel. And since the main character remembers the original timeline, the idea is that in the sequel, he could set right what once went wrong. But, well, we never got one, so... As of the end of that game, the communists are in control of the world. Hey, like this world. Wait, no, we can't go that far. Let's see, two in less than a year at the same spot too. Holy shit. That is not fun. I've only been in the one car accident. That happened, I believe, in November of 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, I was on the freeway. Some idiot decided he didn't want to exit, swerved in my lane. I tried to avoid him, at which time a car then smashed into me. But did not smash into me, like, directly in behind. Instead, it crashed partially into my, crashed partially into the, right rear bumper, then kind of skidded off the door, and then finally smashed into my, my directions are off at the moment. Basically, it was a major wreck. Let's just say that. It fucked up the door, it fucked up the, one of the fenders. And I was able to replace one of the fenders and the door, so that was good. And yeah, people cannot drive, like, at all, especially in Hughestown. That's one of the things, when I finally do get my bike, I have absolutely no desire to drive that on the freeway. And so, one of the bikes I'm looking at getting is a Honda Rebel 250. It's just a cheap, basic motorcycle. It's fairly light, at only 300 pounds. It's only a 250cc engine, and there are some complaints that, like, oh, you can't go very fast on it, but it's like, I don't want to go fast on a bike. I'm not an idiot. Or put another way, I'm not 18. You know, it's like, you fuck up on a bike, you get dead. And, you know, I guess if I were 18 and bulletproof, I wouldn't care, but I'm 32 and I know I'm not bulletproof and thus do care. I'm also looking at a Honda Shadow, which is a bit faster and a bit more expensive, and a Yamaha something. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. It's another one of those low-priced bikes. Well, I say low-priced. These things are like $1,500 and up, so that's not exactly cheap. But I'm heartily looking forward to getting one of those. But what makes that kind of depressing is I wanted to get one so me and my stepdad could drive out to Galveston on one of those convoy rides kind of things. Which, unfortunately, due to his current predicament, is, well, we'll just have to see. He's a fairly strong guy, so I am hoping he will recover without too much difficulty. Well, actually it's already horribly difficult now, but you get the idea. I'm trying to be positive. And he survived worse. He's a Vietnam vet, so he survived that. And he survived getting shot down 3 times in one day, and getting shot several times. That's actually how he got out of the war. Instead of running to Canada, he got shot by a bunch of VC. And one thing that's also kind of depressing that comes to mind is later this year I had planned on making a review on a Vietnam game that I'm quite fond of that I can't remember the name of. I know what it... I have it for the PS2, and I originally played it for the Xbox, but I have it for the PS2, and I was gonna review that. I still probably will, along with the novel Armor, which was written by another Vietnam guy, and I like Armor a bit more than Starship Troopers because it's more of a personal kind of story versus the more lofty political story of Starship Troopers. That's not to say that Starship Troopers is bad or that I dislike Starship Troopers. It's just I happen to prefer more personal narrative sort of things than some of the more overarching political stuff. And also, Armor has a really cool scene where one of the characters dons the armor in Armor refers to powered armor and the armor of one's soul. And so, towards the end of the book, I'm not spoiling anything here, because, like, obviously, the cool dude in the cool armor is gonna kick some kind of ass at some point. And so, basically, the main character ends up donning the armor again, and fighting some space pirates. There weren't no space pirates in Starship Troopers. It was just a lot of political crap. Well, I won't say political crap, because it made sense, but still. Let's see. Populated areas. Massive car crash. Not fun. Oh, that had to hurt. Watch out for rocks. Yeah, that's true. No color. Let's see. Crypto market. I've looked at that a little bit. Bitcoin has gone through the roof along with all the others, but I just don't know. Because, like, Bitcoin is sort of like, you just gotta, like, you gotta take it almost on faith that this electronic money has any real value to it. And then there's issues with taxation, then there's other issues with, you know, can you buy anything with Bitcoin? You can buy more stuff with Bitcoin than you could, but I still am just not sure if it's actually something I would want to invest in. Because right now it's doing good, but who knows if it's gonna, like, lose most of its value. That happened before, and it may well happen again. But then again, that's sort of like the issue with any sort of investment. You never really know if what you invest in today is gonna be worth anything. And we'll just, it's one of those things, just have to see. I personally wouldn't trust it, but then I'm sort of a conservative investor when it comes to these sorts of things. Like, the only investments that I have are in, of course, the Fox News staple, precious metals. Because I feel like that's going to be worth at least something, because it's like silver is going to keep its value even if there's some sort of market crash. Not to the point where I think people think it will, but at least it'll be more than, here's some electronic money that people may or may not choose to take. And having hard currency is never a bad idea. Now, I think this particular Doom wad actually doesn't have an ending to it, so I'm not sure how far we could end up going in this. But yeah, all the new electronic money. I just don't know how much I trust it. But then again, it's kind of hard to trust the US dollar, so there's that. Because printing all that money, everybody likes the stimulus checks. I mean, I'm not gonna say, like, if you got one because you needed it, that, like, that's bad or something, but that is still printing a lot of money. And eventually that's gonna come due, and that's not gonna be good. Digital currency. What are your thoughts on gold and silver? Okay, I'll talk about that. Go to your back. Crypto, digital, silver. And yeah, silver is primarily what I have. I got a little bit of gold. Not that much though, because gold is ridiculously expensive. And thanks for the prayers, because we need a lot of those beauty things. And if you happen to be atheist, then just be like, I hope he does well. Because, seriously. But, see, where was I? Gold is somewhat hard to collect just because it is very, very expensive. Because, like, one gold coin can be like, 600 bucks, and yeesh. That's a bit too rich for even my blood these days. Even with working ridiculous hours. But hard currency is just it's not necessarily something that's gonna make you rich, but it's just good to have in the long term. Because you never really know, and like, if there was, say, a grid down situation, which is unlikely, but you never know, people aren't going to take your imaginary money, be it electronic or paper, whereas, you know, people would be more willing to take, you know, silver. Now, it's not to say that silver is going to ever be, like, worth a shit ton, but it's still, it's one of those things. It's good to just have, just in case, sort of like, freeze-dried food and the like. It's not something you ever want to really have to use. And I happen to like coin collecting anyway, so having a few, you know, ingots here and there, having some classic silver coins, it's part of my collection in general. And chuck all the grenades. Save. I really do too. I mean, one of the big problems when somebody gets sick like that, it's like how fast that went. Like, nobody had any time to really prepare, because like 2021 starts up, you know, and I'm trying not to think too much about it right now, because like it is a bit hard even for me to talk about, but it's like 2021 starts up, and me and my mother are going to the gym, because going to the gym was very important to my mother, because she really enjoyed doing that and hadn't done it for a number of years. And like, he was like fucking benching, you know, 125 pounds. I mean, almost put me to shame. And now it's like, he can barely get out of bed, so it's not fun, not fun. But anyway, when it comes to like money though, one thing you gotta remember is fiat currency, or just paper money, does not necessarily have any more value than what the you know, like, government puts on it. So it really is something that you just got to keep in mind. You kind of got to watch the economy and what it's doing, and hoo boy, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't going that well. And the whole idea, the new monetary policy of just print money, it's like, hey, if we print it, we'll have more, right? No, you'll have horrible inflation. Used to be it didn't really matter because I didn't have any money, but these days, after getting my new job back in 2019, it's like, oh, all that money I spent, all that time saving, oh, that's gonna be worth like half its value. Sweet. So if you can, try to get some silver, try to get some gold, because at least that will hold its value a bit better than paper money. But like, don't go overboard with that. With anything, don't ever go too far overboard, because there's a good chance the economy could recover, and then you're stuck with a bunch of silver that you really can't spend, because if you had to sell said silver to get, you know, like more fiat currency, you're gonna get less than you paid in many cases. Let's see. Precious metals. Crypto game is strong. Bitcoin now. I've heard of Theta, but that's about it. 1,700. That's actually down a bit. I remember it was close to 2,000 a little bit. for a little bit. Well, it depends on the size of the coin. I got like a $5 piece, so that was like almost 600 bucks. So, like, if you were to get a full 1 ounce gold coin, good luck. That is, yeah. If you were to get like a gold eagle, and then like you see people with like whole stacks of them, it's like, my God, where do they get the money? Or why would they spend the money on that? But of course, then again, things are kind of weird economically now, because like 9mm ammo used to be like a couple of pennies around. Now it's almost $1. And so like if you were to get 500 9mm, that would cost you quite a bit of money. Where it used to be, it'd be like $80. So there's that. Invest in ammo. Or better yet, small pistol primers. Because, yeah. Not gonna be finding any of those anytime soon. Let's see. Essentially, riding the wave. I can understand that. Gold and silver. Okay, here's something that's kind of funny. I've mentioned this in other streams before, but I'll mention it again. A gram of gold used to be worth so little, and this was about 20 years ago. Damn, I'm old. Used to be worth so little. Sometimes if you made a purchase of like a fairly large coin purchase, you could get one for free. Because I bought a 1935 $5 bill. It was a Federal Reserve note, not a silver certificate. I guess I should explain what that is. If you're not a coin guy, you wouldn't know what a silver certificate was. But anyway, I spent like 40 bucks on that $5 bill. And the guy threw in a gram of gold. Because back then, I think 1 gram of gold was worth like 10 bucks. I think, yeah, maybe $10 back then. Might have been a little less. And now that gram is $80, so I kind of appreciated. But for those who don't know, US money used to be worth a lot more than it is. To the point where it used to be backed by silver bullion. And you'd have these things called silver certificates. And at one time, you could have redeemed them for $1 in silver. Which you, of course, can't do anymore because they don't have $1 in silver. So you're kind of fucked about that. They also used to be gold certificates as well. Like, you could redeem a gold certificate for the face value in gold. That ain't the case anymore, as you would expect. One thing that's kind of funny, I was talking to my stepdad about that, because he actually collects coins. He's a really cool dude. Because, like, he does a little bit of everything. And he was mentioning that back when he was a kid, gold was worth, like, at most $35 an ounce. It's like, it went up a bit, indeed. If you could have invested in gold back in the day, you'd be just positively swimming in money like that goddamn Scrooge McDuck. Yep. 9mm dollar rod. Let's see. Stock up on gold. Yep. Think about getting a copy of Salem's Lot. You know, Salem's Lot isn't bad, but I just found it kind of boring. Assuming I'm thinking of the right book, and I might not be. If I'm not mistaken, it's like Salem's Lot about, like, some father and son were going to some city, and then there was vampires in it. I don't know, I've read too many books. And speaking of books, the book I'm reading right now is the sequel to Fox on the Rhine. I mentioned this, I think, like last week. Fox on the Rhine was an epic book, and Fox at the Front, the sequel, is, like, even better. It has Patton and Rommel teaming up to fight the SS. It's like, it is the greatest World War II fanfic of all time. So, I was really quite surprised it was going to be as good as it is. And here's a spoiler. One of the SS bastards was trying to kill Rommel. And so, the little dweeby guy actually takes him out. Which was pretty cool. And it made me think, like, if Fox on the Rhine or Fox at the Front were ever made into films, the little dweeby supply clerk dude, I get the feeling he'd be played by some guy who's like 6'6" and like 300 pounds of fucking muscle. Because that seems to always be the way when it comes to like Hollywood adaptations. Like characters who were either ugly or overweight, always played by like cool dudes. It's like he'd be played by The Rock, I guarantee you. The little supply clerk Mueller would be played by The Rock. I can almost guarantee you that. And he like fucking suplex him or something. Actually, I kind of want to see that. Because that would be like the greatest thing ever. And yeah, he was an avid hunter way back in the day. Not so much after the whole Nam thing, as you would expect. Actually, it's one of those other things that's kind of depressing. The 1851 video might not get done anytime soon because we were supposed to go shoot that, and yeah, not going to be going to the range anytime soon. But yeah, definitely into the firearms. Way back in the day, he had a sporterized 1903 Springfield. And yeah, I know it's heretical today, but I was talking to him about that. And an in-marked 1903, back when he was a kid, would run you somewhere around 20, 30 bucks. It was those old military surplus rifles back then. And the thing is, I've also mentioned this in other streams, so if I'm repeating myself, then just deal with it. Military surplus used to be worth practically nothing. You know, obviously after 70 plus years, it's gonna be worth a bit more today, but back, you know, in the 60s, 70s, it was not worth much. Because there were millions of K98Ks out there. There were millions of Springfields and M1 Garins. I mean, that's what you could go down to the local hardware store and you could buy a 1903 Springfield in wrapping, brand new, for like pennies comparatively. And so he got a 1903 Springfield and sporterized it. An in-marked 1903 Springfield, no less. And it made for an epic hunting rifle. He took a, I believe it was an elk at 300 yards with one of those things. And that's just one of those things. It's like those, what we kind of hold dear in terms of military surplus, back then it was like, back then military surplus is pretty much what an AR would be to us today. Because like, used to be before the Gundemic, you could go down and buy a brand new AR-15 for like 300 bucks. Actually, I'd actually say the Mil Surp would be worth even less than that. Because, once again, there were millions upon millions of those things. There was all that surplus ammo, which wasn't very good, but, well, it was still there, so... Turning those into a hunting rifle made a lot more sense. And if you were good at it, you could actually make a really, really good hunting rifle. And, a 300-yard kill, yeah, not too bad, to say the least. Let me see. Buy some Netflix. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Author that comes back to a town. I vaguely remember reading Salem's Lot, I think. 22, 357, 38. Well, used to be I would recommend getting either a Rock Island M200 or, barring that, a Smith & Wesson Model 10. But I hate to say it, good luck finding one of those. Or finding any of those. The Model 10s are pretty much gone, and the Rock Island M200's also pretty much gone. If you're going to get a 22 revolver, you can find those. My recommendation is a Ruger Single 6. They're a bit expensive, but they're worth it. Oh, crap. Save. They're a bit expensive, but they're worth it. They're very, very high quality. And, those things just work. There's also some classic ones as well that you could find, but they're going to be a bit pricey, too. The one... the 122 revolver I'd like to get above all else is the H&R Sportsman, which is a 9-shot break top 22 revolver. Unfortunately, those things have gone up considerably in value, because by the time I heard about them, people actually knew they existed. So, a lot of cool guns, if nobody knows they exist, there's no demand for them, and so the price will be fairly low. So, one of those Sportsman revolvers, before it started getting mainstream notoriety, would have been worth, you know, just a couple hundred. Now they're worth about 5 or 6 because people know about them. God damn it. Let's see. Veteran today. I have no idea how those... I would hate to have to work fast food though. Creating a Discord channel. I actually did have a Discord channel for the channel. Unfortunately, it got hacked, and so I had to just sort of nuke it. And right now, I'm not going to have any time to work on a Discord channel. I didn't have any time before to begin with, much less now. So, I don't expect it. God, I'm going to die. Yep. So, unfortunately, that's not going to be a thing for a while. Although, I would like to resurrect it, because I would like to do an open mic night again. I used to do that a lot until there was a guy who came on that kind of hogged, like, everything. And back then, I didn't want to, like, be the asshole that was like, could you please let other people speak? These days, I'm not quite so nice. It's like, okay, you've had your turn, please be silent. Or actually, I'll probably moderate it a bit better in that I'll have it set to push to talk instead of just open. I'll admit, I was both lacking in fortitude and a bit lazy in the old days. Favorite Stephen King book? I never really rated Stephen King that highly, so I don't really have a favorite. The story of his that I like the most is Carrie, but I don't think I've ever read the book. The only Stephen King book that I've read in the last 10 years is the one around the JFK assassination, and even then, I didn't like it that much. I just never really liked him or Dean Koontz that much. It just, his writing style never really appealed. Although, now that I say that, I might be willing to give him another shot, though. Because I might be in a better mindset today than I was in the past. Torture chambers. Oh, I remember this level. It's like, this is a goddamn maze. Part of It. I have not read It. Yeah, single action army revolvers aren't bad. 22, yeah, 22s are still pretty, 22s get a bad rap. And I needed some time to, relieve some stress. And the best way to relieve stress is to shoot shit. Because while AVPR isn't a bad game, it's not exactly, the ripping and tearing of, Project Brutality. And if you want to know why I need to relieve stress, just look back on the stream, because I really don't want to have to keep repeating that. I feel really bad for my mother having to repeat, like, all the crap that's going on to all the various family members and friends. Ugh. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, Stephen King, just never really got into him all that much. I know Misery is a good story, but I'm not sure, I've not actually read the book, because I know what happens in it. And it is a pretty creepy concept of getting, it's actually one of those concepts that is, remarkably pre-innocent, because there's a lot of crazy, stalkers today, especially amongst the fandoms. And so, yeah, you don't want to be kidnapped by a fan, that's for sure. I do not believe he was anywhere near Hamburger Hill. I generally don't like to ask, well, I never actually did ask about what happened in the Nam. I just let him tell me at his own volition. It's like, hey, yeah, did you have to shoot anybody? You don't want to ask that of anybody. I do know that the Nam still kind of weighs heavy even to this day, because for some reason he had the bright idea to try and watch Platoon. For those who have not seen Platoon, it is a hardcore Vietnam film that it's hard to watch even if you hadn't had to be there, so yeah. And it still bothered him. One thing that was really cool though, because I was talking to him about that, it's like, you know, it's almost like I was there again, even though they got all the uniform insignia wrong. It's like, on the one hand, it's sad that he kind of relived a little bit of that. On the other hand, it's like really awesome that he remembered all the uniform insignia and was able to point it out. Because like, that's something that I would do. Because him and I are remarkably a lot alike. And, that's also making it kind of hard. Because, yeah, I really don't want him to, shuffle off the club. But anyway, moving on. Under the Dome. I heard about that, but never have actually seen it. I've seen the film Mist, but not read the book. Clive Cussler. I read Raise the Titanic, and that was it. I don't really like Clive Cussler's writing style. I just feel like it's a little too, simplistic. Actually, that sounds a little too, over-intellectual. I just don't really like his writing style. I did enjoy Raise the Titanic, though. It's kind of funny that, that book is so old, they still thought that the Titanic had gone down in one piece, and that it could be raised. It also is very much a Cold War plot on top of that, where on the Titanic, there were some kind of magical mineral that could allow the United States government to create a sound cannon to build a missile defense shield around the U.S., and thus single-handedly end the Cold War. The Hollywood film changed it to have the main character leave it on the Titanic because it was too much power for any one government or some bullshit like that. Now, Clive Cussler is most well known for his Dirk Pitt book series, and Dirk Pitt is basically American James Bond. He's okay, but I just feel like he's, that old Clive went a bit too far creating that guy. Because, like, he, of course, is attractive, he likes the Colt 45, and he's got his own, like, airplane hangar with all kinds of classic cars. It's like, he's a man's man. But I just feel like the stories are a little too... They're a little sloppily written, in my opinion. Cussler could be a little more snappy getting the plot started when it comes to a few of those. And it's kind of funny how Dirk doesn't age, because he's active in the 1970s, but is still active even today. They just kind of like have the floating timeline. But Cussler's not the only one guilty of that, because like Monster Hunter International has like a major event tied to 1995. The problem with this is the books are still ongoing in 2021, so any character who could be active at that time would be very, very old. Like, for example, one of the main characters, Julie Shackelford, was going to get married in 1995. However, unless she was 18, and even if she was, she would be in her 40s now. I think actually in her 50s, so she'd be really, really, really old. And so, the timeline for the Monster Hunter books is just kind of screwed. Because either A, the books take place in the year of their publication, or B, they take place in some other time period. Either way, it just doesn't really... It leads to some questions, so long as you're, like, super nerdy like myself. Let's see... Oliver Stone was in Vietnam... Well, he might not have actually been responsible for the, costuming. Let's see... speaking of Doom for a second. Marathoning incredibly tough. What? Scythe of Death is pretty difficult, but the most difficult one that I played, that I've played, period, is Kama Sutra. That thing is ridiculously difficult. Okay, please don't blow yourself up. Okay, good. Let's see. No, he's not actually in a motorcycle club. He just rides around with various friends. Which I guess is what a motorcycle club is, but it's not like an official one that I'm aware of. Let's see. One of his motorcycle buddies is also a cool dude. Who, if I'm not mistaken, fought in the first Gulf War. And I was talking to him about that when we were working on my car. It was like, they told us our life expectancy was something like 15 minutes or something. I'm not sure how true that was, but I wouldn't doubt it. Modern war is very, very dangerous, to say the least. And let me grab some of that sweet ammo. Let's see here. That Dirk Pit is... no, because Clive Cussler actually shows up in the Dirk Pit series. I think his name is like the captain or, I can't remember what he shows up with his boat. Because, Clive Cussler really likes boats. And so he'll often show up and save Dirk Pit from being killed in his boat. So, no, Clive Cussler's in the book. Maybe Dirk Pit is like the idealized version of Clive Cussler, but Clive Cussler does show up in the book. Maybe his name is the Admiral. I don't know. I haven't read a Dirk Pit book in a very long time. I was gonna do a review of Sink the Titanic, but never got a chance to. Other books would come up, and then I had to reread it because I didn't want to forget anything in it. And maybe one day I'll get to it. Not this year though. All the book review slots have been filled. I was going to review this year though, episode 1, the novel, but I decided I'd much rather review a Kane book. And I'm going to review Death or Glory next month. Maybe. I hope I can. If I can't, then it's not going to happen. I also might not end up getting my game review out this month either, just because of all the unpleasantness. And the game review for this month would have been Crystal Caves. I've already reviewed that game, but I wanted to do a more in-depth review because the devs actually contacted me. And I thought I'd go ahead and give them a review because their game is good. Actually, I should say the remake devs contacted me. And their remake is pretty good. Well, actually, really good. But I will say this though, if you've never played Crystal Caves, you'll enjoy the first 2 episodes, and unless you find Super Mario Bros. 2, the Japanese version, easy, you are not going to complete episode 3 and 4, because holy shit are those difficult. I didn't finish episode 3, and I didn't even get 1 level done in episode 4. It was that hard. So, I'll be doing an in-depth review, maybe, of the first 2 episodes, but the rest, holy crap, it's just ridiculous. Let's see here. We got a little bit of a horror story about a park ranger who I look at for the summer. That sounds a bit like a video game called Firewatch. And yeah, self-inserts are kind of difficult to get away from. Or making Mary Sue's. I know that quite well. Actually, when I was younger, the only characters I wanted to make were self-inserts because at the time I felt very insecure. So it's like, man, if only I had this or this, I could be so much better. And that's where the whole Star Wars fanfic came from. I've since decided not to actually finish it. Instead, it's just going to be retooled into something else. Because the original fanfic idea can be used. I just have to, like, get rid of, well, everything copyrighted, which isn't too difficult. And hello, Ross Dude. My dream AVP movie would be the original AVP1 film screenplay. Because it got everything pretty much right. I would recommend hunting that up because it's actually a pretty good story. It, of course, is not like the comic, but it's not like that crap film. It's set on a jungle planet instead of the desert, because of course it is. It still has a Japanese chick as the main character, except you can pronounce her name a lot easier. It's Hiroko instead of Machiko. Dashin Day is still in it, except he actually uses a pulse rifle at one point in that script. So, I would love to see that movie get made. I don't know why they didn't make it, because it wouldn't have required any higher of a budget, but whatever. What we got is, you know, predators in Antarctica because, and reasons. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been hard to make that film, and people would have loved it. Because, like, if you got to see the Predator doing epic shit, I think people would have quite enjoyed that movie, but unfortunately didn't really get that. And that actually reminds me of something I was discussing with a friend the other day. about how, like, Predator really got the whole representation thing right, unlike, you know, Disney. Yeah, with AVP 1, you had a Japanese female protagonist. Now, in the modern era, it would be Japanese female protagonist. Back in the 90s, it was a chick who happened to be Japanese and who happened to be female. And that was it. She didn't have a katana. She didn't speak with, like, an accent. She just happened to be from glorious Nippon. In fact, she used a then non-existent 50 caliber revolver against the xenomorphs. That's one of those things where that was a bit pre-innocent because 50 caliber revolvers exist. Well, actually, they're 500 revolver because you can't say 50 because that might be a destructive device. Although I just can't imagine a 90-pound Japanese woman going around shooting xenomorphs with a Smith & Wesson 500. That just, I don't know. I do not know how useful the muzzle brake on a 500 is. Maybe she could shoot it, but that just seems a bit overkill. I mean, it works. I mean, if I was gonna use a revolver against a xenomorph, I would like something like a 500, but still. Let me blast these bastards real quick. I'll check the chat. For a Star Wars fanfic. Where my brain says, why switch some things around and make it a flip short? Yeah, you want to be able to actually publish stuff and make money. Otherwise, they're almost sociopathic. Or die horribly. You know, I would never want to give a writer my name to, like, put in a book. Because writers love to, like, they'll get names from their friends and then kill off the characters with the names. Or like entering into a contest to get your name in a book. It's like, I do not want John Theophilus Lotz to have his head pulled off by a predator. That does not appeal. Now, maybe if I could, you know, save an attractive space babe while fighting the predator, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Let's see, Paul W.S. Anderson. Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson is not the best when it comes to any sort of adaptations. Just look at Resident Evil. Mortal Kombat wasn't that bad. Now, let's see here. Vacation and Watchfire Tower. Let's see. That was an homage to The Thing? Wow, I didn't even notice that. For the thing, see, that's the thing, though. I'd like it to be where people didn't even notice the skin color of anybody, you know? Because, see, to me, it doesn't really matter. Here's something that would get you kicked off of a college campus. Skin color doesn't matter. It's like, for example, I have brown skin pigmentation, and I don't consider myself a brown person. You know, it's like Captain Sisko. You know, nobody cares that he's black. And there's actually, here's the best part about that. To show how epic Deep Space Nine was, there was actually a whole episode that I'm sure is going to get canceled. I can guarantee you it's going to get canceled at some point. They're going to take it off of Netflix because it goes completely against the modern woke narrative of skin color being a thing. I mean, obviously skin color does exist, but of it actually having any real import. There's an episode where Cisco is mad that everyone's going to the Las Vegas simulation because there's a holographic character named Vic something or other. Basically, he's supposed to be Frank Sinatra. So, holographic Frank Sinatra is at a nightclub in the 60s. And since it's, you know, a hologram, it's supposed to be fun, so there's no racism or anything. And, well, Captain Cisco's kind of pissed at that because, like, well, in real life, this wouldn't have happened. And so, the whole episode is saying, well, yeah, it was bad back then, but it's not bad now, so you gotta let go of the past. That's gonna get canceled, I guarantee you, because modern day grievance culture is all about not letting go of the past. You know? And modern day segregation. Yeah, I said it. Because they're doing that now. With college graduations segregated by race. Because that, what used to be racism is now wokeism. Because, yeah. It's a mess. And that's your political crap for the day. I don't even know if that's political crap, because it's like, holy crap, how can people be that stupid? Welcome to the modern day educational system. Let's see here. Few lucky hits, but man, I have not. Oh, Anderson. I thought you said Activision. Guys who travel through time stuff. Ancient Egypt. That'd be kind of neat. Same skin color. Segregation. And yeah, well, like with me, for example. Actually, nobody really knows what sort of thing. No, I don't think any SJW really know what to make of me. Because I do look, you know, like I come from south of the border in some respects. But they really hate me because I don't really identify as any race other than American. And if you really piss me off, Texan. But that's about it, you know. I hate, one of the things I think is real cringe, well, actually I think it goes beyond cringe, is the whole brown or brown body or brown person. It's like, I'm a bit more than my skin color, thank you very much. And a bit more than a body too. It's like, holy crap. The ridiculousness is real. I know I'm gonna get canceled. And what's funny, I'm not even joking when I say I could get canceled for that, because people have been canceled for that. It's like, how is that even cancelable? But then again, you know, when you have when you're a woke person, you have arrogance and ignorance in equal quantities. So yeah. You joke, get canceled for saying racism is bad. They tried to cancel some, well, actually that person was an idiot anyway, but cancel some idiot for saying that they don't see color. And I think a bunch of schools are saying that you're supposed to see color and stuff like that. I mean, what color is there to see? Someone has different skin pigmentation. Who gives a fuck? See, that's the crazy part about racism, though. When you think about it, it is the most irrational thing imaginable. Somebody's skin color is different from mine, therefore, it's bad. There's a little bit of evolutionary biology in that like, oh, that tribe looks different from mine, they might be a hostile threat, but, well, come on, it's the future. So, the thing is, you know, just because someone has different skin pigmentation does not make them a different person. It's like, but that's what they try to push, because reasons. It's pretty gross, the more you look into it. Well, then they're extra racist if they're colorblind. Yep. The Terran Empire. The Terran Empire is technically not the Raycast. But the, here's one thing that's kind of interesting, though. Technically, the, ooh, that guy is so dead. Technically, the Romulans and the Cardassians both have to be a bit Raycast. Their, stellar empire is named after their species, after all. Whereas the Federation is made up of multiple species. It's not like it's the Terran Federation. Service guarantees citizenship. Let's see, do I have anything powerful enough to take this guy down? It'd be nice if I had some sort of rocket launcher or grenade launcher, something. Well, I just got blasted. But yeah, you should see some of the crap that these woke jurisdictions like to say, though. There was some Smithsonian that got in trouble for saying that hard work is a... Oh, I don't even want to really get into that, but I would actually rather focus on woke politics than, well, the current unpleasantness. Because at least that is something I can mock. But there's some woke jurisdictions saying that hard work is racism. Once again, I don't know where they get the idea for that, but evidently it is. And apparently being racist towards the evil whitey is good now. You would not believe how many things that you find these days where whiteness studies and stuff like that, it's insane. But I knew this was going to happen, because when they started throwing out all the ists and isms and stuff like that, I knew they were going to go that far, because they had to have the bad guy or the boogeyman, just like the Nat Sox did. I am so dead. Actually, no, I'm still alive. In an earlier version of Project Brutality, those evil Marines actually had plasma rifles and a shitload of health. Oh, the unpleasantness. Look at the earlier part of the stream. I really don't want to say it again. Just because it's, yeah. It's not anything direct. Well, I guess it is kind of directly. It's not something happening directly to me, but it's something very important to me. But, anyway. Yeah, the wokeness is just getting out of control. I think, if you've never heard of critical race theory, look it up and prepare to be terrified. Because it's a thing. It's a thing. They've codified those grievance studies that have been going on for the last decade into something that would not look out of place in Mein Kampf. No joke. No hyperbole. And yeah, you know it. Oh, don't even remind me of the 1619 Project. It's like something not even remotely based on history that's passed around as history. See, in the past, I quite enjoyed looking at the low-hanging fruit, like going to forums and things of that nature, where you saw some SJW stuff. These days, it just pisses me off. And a writer I used to really like is a complete and total sujub. John Scalzi is his name. He wrote a couple of good books. Old Man's War and Red Shirts, which was supposed to be made into a TV series but never was. And oh, I'm so sorry. He's a guy with huge amounts of TDS. Like massive amounts of it, but also, you know, hates the evil Republicans, and apparently all the Republican states and cities have more coronavirus than anyone else, except California and New York would like to have a word. It's, oh crap! Really? That's hilarious, but it's a mess. And idiotic. One thing that I have found, though, by looking at the Sejubs in their own habitats, is they all have a lot of self-esteem issues, on top of being very infantile. Like, they can't seem to grow up. Like, John Scalzi, for example, he has a daughter who is in her 20s, and she'll post on the John Scalzi blog now and again. And used to be, I found some amusement going there and just sort of looking at the sheer idiocy, but these days it just kind of annoys me. And from what it looks like, the Sejubs have this desire to be, for want of a better word, coddled. Like, they want things to be like, they want to be treated like a child their entire life. Because the main complaint that the daughter had was that, oh, college is so difficult. The teachers used to care when I was in high school, and like, all my friends are gone. It's like, you know, it's real life. Real life is difficult. It doesn't have to be as difficult as some things, but I mean, come on. You think your boss is gonna give a fuck about you? I should think not. Or maybe you might get lucky and they do, but at the end of the day, just because the teacher's not paying extra close attention to you, well, you get over it. If that's the worst problem you got, you're doing pretty good. And so, the SJWs, they have this sense of entitlement that has to be seen to be believed. And that's how they can say a lot of this crap. I think it just comes down to a number of these people have very low self-worth, and for some reason, major corporations and captains of industry will listen to these people. I guess because it's sort of like that, it's sort of a catch-22. Their crap gets popular on social media, and so it gives this perception that more people agree with this than actually do. So, in short, social media might have been a mistake. Maybe.
see. And thank you, Nigel Proctor.
This mod is called Quake 2 Reborn.
Let's see. As bad as movie Blob. Hates all of rural America because I don't live in cities. I'm not surprised. I've never heard of Jim Cornette, but I never was into wrestling.
And so, yeah, you know, I feel bad, really, for some of these people, to a degree. The non-violent ones I feel bad about. Because they're not going to have a clue when it comes to actually living life. Maybe they won't ever have to. You know, like, being the daughter of a famous and rich writer, she probably won't ever have to worry about bills or anything like that. But actually, now that I think of it, like, if she had to deal with what I have to deal with right now, would she be able to handle it? Because, yeah, dealing with, you know, unpleasantness, it's not something you can just, you know, pass off to someone else. You gotta deal with it yourself. And all the baggage, I'm not gonna say baggage, and all the trauma it entails, you know. You're not gonna be able to go to somebody else and have them do it. Or maybe she might. Poor John Scalzi ends up in an old folks' home. Oh god, am I trapped in here? I might be, so I might have to switch to another mod. Oh no, that's a ladder apparently. Okay.
Let's see. I heard Jim Cornette say he wants to live long enough to. What?
Oh, I need to change the specs on that page. I keep forgetting, mainly because I don't think anybody looks at it. This is unless I already changed them and I forgot I did. This is a whole new machine from the specs that might be on that about page. Because this is a Ryzen machine with a RTX 2060 Super. Because I don't know when the last time I updated that was, but yeah, this is either A, the specs are correct, or B, this is a whole new thing. Did I get the key finally? I don't remember. This is a long-ass level. Really? But yeah, TDS is one of those things that annoys me. It's like people just... They just yammer to hear themselves talk, I guess. Because you don't have to like the Donalds, but you don't have to make up shit about them either. I mean, I don't like the Soviet Union, but after learning that they didn't just kill their own men en masse, well, I'm willing to accept that. I'm also willing to accept that, you know, the Soviet Union, while bad, was not quite as bad as what Enemy at the Gate shows. Which, you know, it's kind of hard for me to believe that they didn't do that, but you know, if the historical data shows. But then again, I would still hate to have ever been anywhere near the Soviet Union. Just saying.
YouTube would do that.
Okay, yeah, those specs are way out of date. That's like 3 years ago. I need to fix those things. Yeah, the processor's a Ryzen 220G. The GPU is the 2060 Super. And it's like, this is a whole new machine. All the hard drives are different too. Because like the main game drive I'm running is a NVMe drive. My god, that computer was old though. I mean, it worked, but this new one just is a beast. About the only part in here that is similar to that list is the capture card. I have not replaced that because I've seen no need to. Because, well, it works. Alright, let's see here. I don't think I ever really finished this level because it's really long, really hard, and, well, it's just a bit too long. It almost becomes like a drag. In fact, it kind of is even now. I'll play one more level of something a little quicker and easier to do. And I'm going to call it a day because I'm starting to get a little bit of eye strain, and I do not want to feel any worse than I already do. Let's see. What mod? I've not been into my Doom folder in a very long time. I don't even really know what to do. How about... I don't know what this one even is. Let's just jump into whatever that is. Darken 2. Take the levels from Unreal. There might be, but I've not seen them. Gender equality. And yeah, let's see. Well, I don't really want there to be a war because I don't want people to get killed or messed up. Let's see. I have no idea. Oh, is this that one? Yeah, this is that one. Let's see. I want something where people shoot back. Let's go into... No, that one's going to be too difficult. Dead on Arrival, Total Chaos, Wolfenstein TC. Where the hell is that one? See, right now I'm trying to find Brutal Wolfenstein, and I don't remember which folder that's in. Not in that one. I love that I can see a WAD sort folder that I evidently never used. Brutal Doom. Does that start with a W? Players Rampage. Just hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We will find something soon enough. There's Training Grounds, but that's not it. Let's see, it's Vulcan. Ah, there it is. Aha! Starts with a Z, apparently. I've already, like, played the shit out of this mod, but I absolutely love it. It was never finished. But Brutal Wolfenstein is nothing short of exceptional. And it's definitely good for, curing what ails you. Come on, there we go. Let's put that on that one, and go. Oh god, no. We've got problems, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason... Oh man, I need to get out of that before that crashes. Okay, I must not have ever used this version of GZ Doom. Let's hope it doesn't fuck up the whole stream. Okay, let's go copy and paste that into GZ Doom 4. Okay, let me look at the chat real quick. AVP2 multiplayer. Getting that to work would be a bitch, though. Even back in the day, I don't even know if that would work with Game Ranger these days. Brutal Doom. I don't think you need the ROM itself, because I think the reason they say that is so that it'll all be nice, legal, and above board, so you're not playing something illegal, as they say. Geneva Convention? We didn't even sign it! Wait, no, that's wrong. That's just evil. Oh, that's especially evil. Remember, if Patton asked if we shot anybody that had already surrendered, just lie to him. That's just horrible. That's spicy. Although Patton did have an issue where one of his, I think it was a lieutenant or a sergeant, I can't remember exactly, did actually shoot prisoners. And then he tried to cover that up, which is bad. And the worst part was, it was Italian prisoners. But then again, about the only people who deserve that... Wait, no, I can't. Probably shouldn't go that far. Let's just say SS, they won't get too much sympathy from me. But anyway. Especially those, impronounceable ones. It starts with an E. Brutal Wolfenstein Quest Z Doom. I think I know what that is, but I can't remember anything about it. Castle Totenkopf. I think I have heard of that, but I don't think I got it to run. Look up the... just scale back to the very beginning. In short, very big difficulty in my life at the moment. Very, very, distressing thing in my life at the moment. The music in this mod is is really good. Unfortunately, this thing never got finished, because of course it wasn't. Just top that old K98K up. I remember when I first played this, getting a K98K was the fever dream of a madman. And yet, I was able to find one for a mere 300 USDs. Oh, that was one of the greatest gun buys of all time. It was an epic saga, wherein the gun shop I went to, they primarily dealt with black rifles. And so, somebody had consigned some Mausers to them. Actually, 2 Mausers and 1/2 of a musket. A Whitneyville musket, no less. The other Mauser they had was a really beautiful Argentine Mauser, a Ludwig Lova, there we go. Mauser. I didn't really care about Argentine Mausers, so I didn't buy it, but they had that K98K there, and it's like, oh my god, it was like a miracle. It was meant to be. And not only was it an epic K98K, it was a Russian capture, but it only had 1 X on it, so it wasn't covered in X's like it was like a fucking porn site. But it was also a mixture of early war and late war, but it was the best mixture. Like, actually, I'm saying it was. It is, because I still have it. In fact, as soon as I get a chance, I want to go shoot it. Again. But most of it's early war, but the receiver and barrel, late war. So that means the barrel is not shot out, the receiver is not messed up. It's just great. I mean, I would not want a late war Mauser because they don't look quite as finely finished as the early war. And so, yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. But the gun shop had no idea what it was until I talked them down initially from like 350 to 300. Because like, oh, the bore's a little rusty. And yeah, it did have a little bit of rust in it, but it did not actually impact the accuracy at all. That K98K, man, I don't know if I like that one more than the number 4 Mark 1 or not. See, the number 4 Mark 1 is great, but it's borderized, whereas that K98K is still in its war form, but it's beautiful.
Goodbye, Daniel Leland. Let's see. Is it war not good? And yeah, Sherman would do that. And I'm not that big a fan of Stalker, primarily because it's really, really difficult to the point where I just get kind of bored with it. I'm not a filthy casual, but like, goddamn, is Stalker difficult. And you have to play it at the highest difficulty level too, because if you don't, you do less damage, as do the enemies. It's a weird way to run that. And also, it's just kind of depressing. It kind of has the same problem as Metro 2033. Is it's just so unrelentingly bleak. I do have Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. I bought that when it came out. But I never got very far in it because I kept dying a lot, and back then I had way less patience than I do today. And these days I've got so many other games I want to play that it's just like, do I really want to jump back into that thing? Let's see.
The Doom Eternal DLC. To be honest, I've kind of cooled on Doom Eternal. It's like, I know that it finishes off the story, and I know that Doomslayer fights Stan, the man. But to be honest, I just don't really have... Once again, I don't have that much time to play games due to work, and I'm going to have even less time now. That it's just... The gameplay isn't bad, but it's just more difficult than I personally like. When I'm playing on the second lowest difficulty setting, it shouldn't be a slog just to finish one level or one arena and then have like 8 more arenas to go. I just find it a bit more tedious than I would like. It's like I want to finish the story, but the Ancient Gods Part 1, it's so difficult to the point of tedium that I just don't really... It got to the point when I was playing it that I just kind of wanted to see the end of the arena. I wasn't having fun. I'm not going to say that that makes the game bad, but it's just not the game for me.
Anomaly mod.
Yeah, an SKS and a Mauser at an affordable price. All I can say is wait like 5 years and pray to whatever god you may or may not believe in. Because, yeah. The gun demic and the ammo demic are not going away anytime soon. As for the finished Mosin, that's one of those things, if you could have got those early on, that would have been the best time. What really sucks is I used to see them go for like $300 or $400, and I didn't have, like, having $300 was like almost a legendary concept. It was a myth. $300 was a myth to me for a very long time. And then when I had $300, they were long gone, but I can't complain too much because, well, K98K for $300, so yeah. But any Mosin is going to be ridiculously expensive, especially the finished ones. See, the more expensive a gun will be is dependent upon how many people actually give a fuck about it. So, they made millions upon millions of K98Ks, but people love the K98K, so the price will go up accordingly, because people are going to be selling them. Finished Mosins, there never were that many of them, because Finland's not a country with millions upon millions of people, and on top of that, people love them. And so a lot of people don't want to sell them, and when they do, they expect to get a lot of money for them, and people will pay it. People will pay it. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to talk about this controversy that's going on right now. So, there's a major gun tuber controversy going on right now about some Hungarian SVDs being imported into the country. So, there's a gun tuber named Military Arms Channel, and he got the contract or the whatever the business arrangement was to move in some SVD Dragunovs from Hungary. Now, for those who don't know, the SVD Dragunov it's been in a lot of video games, but it hasn't been imported that much into the US, mainly due to the Bush 89 ban, so they're very expensive. Now, Romanian PSLs are not Dragunovs. They look like them, but they're not the same. So getting a legit Dragunov is not an easy prospect. And so people wanted Dragunovs, and so this guy, Military Arms Channel, was going to import them in. Well, he, as near as I can tell from the videos that I've seen, he did a video talking about how people will put guns on Gunbroker, which is basically gun eBay. And oftentimes on Gunbroker, guns will go for much more than they're actually worth because people will bid and pay ridiculous prices. Or scalpers will put guns on there and for ridiculous prices. I personally have only gotten one gun from them, from Gunbroker, and that was a Beretta 92D, and I didn't get ripped off. So that was also before the gun demic anyway. So anyway, what ends up happening is the Military Arms Channel guy puts those guns on Gunbroker, and so it looks like he was like lying to the fans or something, and he puts them on there for $10K a piece. But as near as I can tell, even if he hadn't put them up there for $10K a piece, they would have been like $7,500, which is still ridiculous. And so now he's like getting canceled for that. I've seen a number of videos talking about whether or not he's good, bad, or indifferent. My opinion on the thing is, there was a number of people who wanted to buy those Dragunovs, but one video put it in an interesting way, saying like the people on that list might have wanted to buy the Dragunovs, but then didn't when they actually were being imported, and so the Military Arms Channel guy put it on Gunbroker to try to recoup some of the money. So whether or not it's good, bad, or indifferent, you know, it's an expensive rifle that few people were going to buy anyway, so it's no big deal to me, and I never really liked Military Arms Channel anyway. I mean, he's not bad, but some of his information is wrong, and he isn't the greatest of presenters when it comes to firearms. But yeah, it just goes to show you, if you're gonna say don't do something, don't go and do it yourself. Geneva Convention? I never heard of her, but anyway. Yeah, I thought I shot you. Well, I kicked you instead. And thank you, Vinny2142. Most appreciated. Put it on the easiest difficulty. I did that and the game crashed, and that's the last time I played it, so yeah. Let me check the chat real quick. Star Trek Bridge Crew.
I have wanted to play that, but I've not wanted to do all the things I'd have to do to get that thing to work. Oh, Arasakas. And yeah, I remember when Mosins were $100, but when I got mine, I paid a bit more than the norm. I went to a gun show and paid $130, but it's a very, very nice Mosin, so it might be a 1943, but it's a very finely finished Mosin, probably one of the few good ones they came out with that year. And so, my biggest problem with that Mosin is for the longest of time, I did not know anything about Mosins. So I kept getting sticky bolt, not knowing that there was Cosmoline in the chamber mouth. It also had a bunch of really crap ammo too, so it never worked quite right until I fixed both of those issues. And yeah, the Arasakas, man, there was an Arasaka that I saw once on Arms List many years ago. It's a heretical Arasaka, but I wanted it anyway. It was a bubbed one, like it was bubbed like you wouldn't believe, but it looked sexy. It was one of the sexy bubbas. Oh my. It was a new flannel, but it had a bent bolt, very, very, very heretical, and it was rechambered for 30-06. But to me, it was like, hey, it's got a bent bolt, and it's chambered for a cartridge I can actually get. Gun channels years ago. A Maverick 88 would be a good choice. It's basically, well, let's put it this way. The Maverick 88 is the Mossberg 500's non-union Mexican equivalent. It's literally, the parts are manufactured in the old Mexico and then assembled in Eagle Pass, Texas, which is basically, we're going to pay our workers nothing and thus make cheaper guns. But at the same time, cheaper gun is good. So, there's that. They work every bit as good as the regular Mossberg 500, so go for it. Just remember, though, that when it comes to shotties, most indoor ranges and even outdoor ranges won't let you shoot anything but slugs. Which is why I never get to shoot shotguns, because slugs were expensive before the ammo-demic, and I can't imagine how much they are today. It's just... If I was to recommend, like, a first-time long gun to anybody, it would not be a shotgun, just because you can't shoot the bloody things. Because none of those ranges will let you do it. It sucks, but, well, that's the way it goes. I was actually thinking about that today. Like, if I was to recommend a good first... Or, let's not say first, let's just say any rifle. Like, if you were going to get a rifle, and it was going to be your only rifle... I would still recommend... No! What the hell did I do? I was trying to save. Okay, I'm not too far back. Try to get the goddamn Mauser. Where the hell is it? Oh, crap. Where's my fucking Mauser? 7.92, motherfuckers! That... Really? Got killed by the fucking dog? Oh yeah, for longtime fans who have heard me talk about how I don't like dogs, in the last year or so, I've actually mellowed on that. I find them to be quite endearing creatures. And the reason I didn't like them for many years was because one of them actually killed my cat. But I've decided that I no longer dislike them, so there's that. I don't actually have a dog, but if I was to get a pet, I would get one of those gutty things. One of a manageable size, though. Let's see. A pistol and a shotty. Well, Maverick 88 with 8-shot tube, that's perfectly good. It's cheaper than a Mossberg 500 and will do the same thing as a Moss 5 would. You can get a red dot mount for one of those things and you'll be good to go. Auto shotties aren't bad. They were a lot cheaper today than they used to be. But if I were to get one, it would be a Saiga 12 or a Catamount Fury or something like that. And hello, Daniel Leyland. Shotgun Mossberg 500. And you are lucky, my friend, to be able to use such a thing. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that atomic brain fart. It's atomic. Oh my. Sounds like my brain.
That's one of the other reasons why I wouldn't really want a pet, though, even though I do find dogs to be more endearing than I used to, is they do have that limited lifespan, and let me put it this way, I don't like death, especially of things that I love. Hence why I'm still kind of messed up today. So. But yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, H&R closing, that really sucks, because I really wanted to get one of those handy rifles they used to sell. Those things were, like, stupid cheap. And, like, you could get one at $45.70. I really wanted one at $45.70, because $45.70 is awesome. Alas, such a thing could not come to pass. It's another one of those things where I kind of cringe when I think about it. I was at a mall, in 2017, I want to say, and I went to the local Bass Pro Shop, and back then I had no money, like $0 and even less cents, and they had sitting there a H&R handy rifle, complete with scope and the little hammer extension, for only $280 bucks. When I think now of the money that I earn compared to back then, it's like I could have bought like 5 of the fucking things. Not that I would, but it's like, man, and now you can't even find those things, and it's just, yeah. Not having money sucks. But anyway. Strongest recoil. Still just a 12-gauge shotgun with 1-ounce slug. For a pistol, 44 mag. Actually, no, what am I saying? 8mm Mauser has more recoil than a 12-gauge. No, it doesn't. I take that back. 8mm Mauser hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much as a 12-gauge. So yeah, I would still say 12-gauge with the slug. I have not shot a 3-inch Magnum. Not because I'm necessarily afraid of the recoil, but I never had the money to afford the ammo for that. Actually, no, now that I think of it, the most recoil I've ever felt was when I let off both barrels of my double barrel, which I've not done a video on yet, but will at some point. Because, yeah, letting off 2 12-gauge at the same time, it's fun, but it will knock you back a lot. Browning on a 5. Shoulder. 30 rounds, man. And a 590 retrograde would be nice, but expensive though. And let's see, what was that? Yeah, Henry does make some sexy rifles, but I know outside of my 22, I don't really have that. I don't really rate Henry lever actions that highly, just because it took them forever to get the loading gate. And the tube load is great for 22, but not really for most other things. But then again, Henry is the only game in town right now, so I don't guess it really matters. So I'm glad I got my Rossi 92, which is a repro of the Winchester 92. And it actually has the Kingsgate loading patent. Let's see here. God damn it. How long have I been going? Hour 30? I'm gonna try to finish this level, then I'll call it a day. And usually when I feel stressed out, these little stress relieving live streams make me feel a little bit better, but I'm still just as stressed out as when I started. This is one of those things. When you got this crap going on, it just constantly weighs on your mind, but you gotta at least do something to try to pass the time. I guess the worst part about, you know, somebody dealing with an illness like this is just, it's the feeling of, giggity, impotence. It's like you can't really do anything but just sort of sit around and go like, well, I hope everything works out well. Even though you can't actually make it work out well. But yeah, such is life. God damn it. Goddamn Mauser. Those 7.92s hurt. Let's see. Marlin seems like the pin. Ooh, the old 500 versus 870 debate. Since I have both, I will tell you this. They are both pretty much equivalent. They have their trade-offs, though. The barrel change on a 870 is way easier than on a MOS 5, but the safety is a little harder to toggle than on the MOS 5, which, you know, if you're using it for a home defense weapon, you know, being able to toggle that safety off pretty fast can be important. The 870 also is a little better made in some respects, but in all reality, though, they're both pretty much equivalent guns. And as for Remington prices going up, that's because Remington doesn't exist anymore. Remington went bankrupt and has been bought up by Ruger. So anything original Marlin is going to be ridiculously expensive now. Oh, and I don't think I can finish the level because starting to get some eye strain. I can already feel a little bit of heat behind my face. And so I know that if I don't stop, I'm going to make myself sick. And I feel bad enough as it is. So let's check the chat, shall we? Oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to have kids, but then again, you never know. I'd actually have to get a girlfriend first. Oh, I did not know that it was riveted to the receiver. 3 kids, man. But in any event, I am General Lotz, and I will wish you all a good weekend, and the good Wolfenstein, whatever makes you happy.